Hi everyone, my name is Ksenia and welcome back to my channel. I haven't done this in a really long while, so I feel really awkward. I've been setting up my background for probably the last hour and I don't even know if it's good. So I really hope you enjoy this video because I put in a lot of work. And today I wanted to talk about the first 10 books I read in 2025. Now I don't really share any reviews or any progress of my reading, and I don't really write reviews for every book I read, so I just wanted to make a little summary, short reviews for everything that I had time for in the first 5 months of 2025. So the first book of the year that I finished, because I started it I think in October 2024, it took me a while to read it, was Cultish by Amanda Montell. This is a non-fiction book about the language of cults and the way language is a really important part of cults and luring people into cults. It was a really interesting read. I'm really interested in the topic of languages and linguistics. I'm not a fan of true crime or documentaries about cults. It's really disturbing. I don't want to watch that. But if you think about it, at least when I think about cults and the whole topic of cults, I find it really interesting, and it was always a mystery of how people end up in cults. The only thing that I disliked was the really confusing at times writing, because even though it was easy to follow and easy to read, it was really disorganized. I felt a little bit confused while reading because there were a lot of things the author repeated constantly. Sometimes it got really informal. Sometimes I really hated the constant intrigues, if you can call them that, when the author started talking about a topic and then just said, we'll talk about this more in part 2, in part 4, in part 5, in part 6, and I'm like, can we just talk about it when we get to part 6, or can we just get it over with here? So it was a little bit weirdly structured. It was really enlightening in some sorts, and actually really educational, because even the groups that we do not think are cults, like, you know, fitness, makeup, Tupperware, they can also check some boxes when it comes to cults and the language they use and the message they send. So it's really interesting. It makes you look at some things differently. Then I read a memoir, The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. It was my first ever memoir, and I started it because I was really excited to read about Kelly Bishop, who plays Emily Gilmore in Gilmore Girls, which is one of my favorite shows. So I really wanted to get some more information, some more fun facts and stuff about Gilmore Girls and the behind the scenes. Even though I didn't know a lot about Kelly Bishop and her life, I actually only knew her from Gilmore Girls. I never watched anything else with her. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know that she was actually originally a dancer, not an actress. So when I was starting the memoir, I didn't know what to expect from it. But as I was reading, it got really interesting, and the writing felt really authentic. And even though I didn't know anything else about her except for Gilmore Girls, it was really enjoyable to read about her life. It was really inspiring, and I got to know a lot, and it was really interesting. I do not believe you can rate somebody's memoir because it's somebody's life. So I'm just gonna skip over this. But overall, Kelly Bishop is a really inspiring person, and reading some more about the Gilmore Girls behind the scenes and her life was a really, really nice experience. The next one was Days at the Morisaki Bookshop, and then followed by the sequel, More Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. It was my first ever experience reading Japanese literature, and it was a really enjoyable experience. I really, really liked Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. It tells a story of Takako, who recently found out that her boyfriend's cheating on her. That caused a whole breakdown for her. Her life went downhill, so she decided to move to a small secluded neighborhood in Tokyo to live with her uncle in his bookshop. Forgot to check because I wrote it in my script, but I didn't know if it's right or not. The name of the street where our main character moved, Chimboko or something. I'll put it as a text in the video. And surprisingly, I was really surprised to find out that this place actually exists, a place full of bookshops in Tokyo. Really cozy, really warm, really healing. I think when I started reading this, this was exactly the book I needed to read back then in February when I started this, or in December, I don't remember. However, I was not as impressed, and it was not as an enjoyable read as the Days at the Morisaki Bookshop was. The sequel really disappointed me. It took me the whole month of February to finish More Days at the Morisaki Bookshop because I did not like it at all. It was really, really boring for me. The story was unfolding in a really weird way, and I did not like the character dynamics and the character development that we saw in the sequel. I actually regret reading it. I think if I didn't read it, my perception of the story would have been more positive. After Days at the Morisaki Bookshop, I decided to go into Japanese literature again and started reading What You Are Looking For Is at the Library. And this is a collection of 5 short stories about 5 different people who are in some kind of predicament in their lives, and they stumble into a library in a community house where they meet the librarian who offers them a book, which then kind of helps them out of their predicament. And oh my god, I love this book. It was so warm and so hopeful and inspiring about just ordinary people. The stories aren't connected in any way. The characters are a little, sometimes, some of them. And it's so sweet. I enjoyed the 3rd story the most. About, I don't really remember a lot. I remember that it was about a woman, a mother, whose career was a little ruined after she had her kid, and she was in a slump, if you can say it this way. And after coming to this library, she found a way to find joy in life. I flew through the story. I even teared up, and it was like really amazing. But overall, every story is good. I really loved this book. It's so calm. Japanese literary fiction is something that I now am a really huge fan of. The next read was If You Could See the Sun, which is a YA magical realism romance novel, if I can call it romance novel. It was a really easy read. We follow the story of Alice's son, who goes to an elite school in Beijing, and one day she realizes that she can turn invisible. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you more because I try to keep these reviews really short because I do not like editing long videos. Overall, the story was really good. I enjoyed it. It was really easy to get through. I think I read it in like 4 days tops. I was sick, so I had a lot of free time. Pretty good. I loved it. It was really YA in a good way. I really liked that the romance was so slow burn and authentic. This one was a really enjoyable read. Next one was Japanese literary fiction again, and I read Convenience Store Woman. It is a short story about a woman working in a convenience store and managing societal expectations and norms and trying to understand them. I think people online referred to the main character as neurodivergent. She thought of herself as weird and not normal her entire life, thinking that she had to be cured, and tried to blend in, copy the behavior of everybody she met, adapt everywhere. And the story just shows us her life working at a convenience store. So for me, this was a little bit too weird sometimes. I totally get the message. It was really funny and ironic at times, but for me, there were weird moments I just didn't really understand. It does get you thinking about what society is and how it treats people who are different. Then I wanted to read something light again, and I started reading I Hope This Doesn't Find You by and Liang, the author of If You Could See the Sun. This one felt really similar to If You Could See the Sun, but it was less original. I really loved the dialogue. It was really authentic, real, and really fun. But then, you know, it was really predictable. I guessed the plot twist before it even, before anything happened. I might not be the target audience anymore for this book. But if you loved To All the Boys I Loved Before, you will definitely love this one. I think if I read this one at 13, I would have been obsessed. 100% sure. Oh my god, I forgot to get it. It's over there. I read The Bell Jar, the only book from my actual shelves, and I forgot to kind of get it to show it to you. It's the Ukrainian edition. It's really pretty. I don't know how many TikToks I filmed just flipping through the beautiful illustrations in there. And I finally finished it. Okay, so unpopular opinion. This was not as profound as people in the media make it seem. I'm not saying I did not like The Bell Jar. It's not actually about liking or disliking the story, because it's semi-autobiographical. But there were so many moments that were just really alarming. The main character, the protagonist, Esther, she was so mean. Not only racist, she was going around calling people fat or poor or whatever. The story read more like a depiction of the life of women and the way their mental health was treated in the 50s. I think I had really high expectations for The Bell Jar. The writing, at least the translation that I read, was good. I enjoyed it at times. It was lyrical, it was really kind of conscious and real and human. It was worth the time and the thought. And the last book, the 10th book that I managed to read this year, that I finished a day ago, I think. I finished both The Bell Jar and this book that I'm going to talk about next just a day ago, on Saturday. I was really in a reading mood, so I finished both. And the next book is also Japanese fiction. I'm really into Japanese literary fiction this year. It's called She and Her Cat. It's also a collection of short stories, and when I started, I expected it to be something like What You Are Looking For Is in the Library. At least I hoped for something like that. It was a little similar, at least the concept is similar, but the stories aren't. So we follow the lives of 5 women and their cats from both points of view, both the women and the cats. To start things off, I am not an animal person. I do not like animals. It was a really good look into the life of cat people. It was really fun. I enjoyed the first story a lot. It was really cozy, and it did have the What You're Looking For Is in the Library vibes that I wanted. The other stories were a little boring to me, and I did not like the character dynamics. And the cats, it was fun when I read about the first cat. About all of the other cats, I don't know. It was really a little bit weird to me. But I think a lot of people might enjoy this one. It's really cozy, especially if you like cats. If you have a cat, if you like cats. The thing that I didn't like was the random switching of writing, of the narration. Writer suddenly shifted into third person and then shifted back into first person, and that happened in one chapter. It was a little bit weird. So overall, it was a really cozy, cute read, and I think you will enjoy it if you like animals and cats. My perception of the book was affected by the fact that I do not like animals. Yeah, this was the last book on my list of the books I read in 2025. The first 10. I really wanted to film a video about the first 10 books, you know, the round number. And this is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really tried to make it interesting. Filming and editing YouTube videos, it's a really tough job for me, so I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope you support me. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will put in the description box all of the reviews that I have written on the books that I've read this year, so you can go read them and support me there. Thank you for watching again, and see you next time. Bye!